Welcome back, students, to the next part of our clip. And we're looking on oral skills. We just finished looking at preparation for a discussion. And you've seen you need to do good research, so on. And now, it is the time for the discussion. For a discussion to be effective, for a discussion to be successful, how are we supposed to have it? One point you should know as a member is you should listen critically to others. I'm using the word as a critic. And when we say you listen to any speech critically, is you want to identify maybe if what is being said is fact, is factual, and can stand on its own. So, listening carefully and very well. Then, show interest in their contribution. Some of us, we really let others down, or you make them feel rejected by even before they start their speech already, you are switched off. So it's very important to make sure that we show interest in other people's contribution. Don't only take yours to be the only factual or the most important. Other people's opinion should be respected in such a case. Remember, we want to have a great discussion. And then, when it is your turn to speak, do so in plain English for clarity. It's so much unfair when maybe you are having a discussion, but you want to prove how eloquent, how superb and perfect you are in a language. So what do? You get a list of vocabularies following each other, right? Until the people you are speaking to do not even really comprehend what you are saying. There's no need for that. Remember, this discussion should make sure that everybody does well and all of you are successful. So use simple, plain language that will be understood by everybody. Then, do not show off for others can turn against you. Yeah, the idea of like everything you are saying is the most important of all should not be there. So showing off should not be there because I show off, another person shows off, we show off, we are not having a successful discussion in that case. Then be brief and stick to the time allocated. You've been given 5 minutes. If it's 5 minutes, make sure that what you are saying is within 5 minutes. Whether how important you feel it is, and so on. Just ensure that you stick to the time allocated. Again, it's very important to be polite and thoughtful and also considerate. Yeah, remember, you can use an example that will hurt another person. Just make sure the examples you use are really logical and they're very considerate to anyone who is there. And again, don't interrupt others if you disagree. Remember, we looked at disagreeing or interrupting politely. There is a way how you are supposed to do it, right? But not just interrupt, just because you are not for that point which has been said. So let's see, in case you want to disagree, how are you supposed to disagree politely? So, if you are in a disagreement with the other person, you should always try to, right? 1, listen attentively in order to understand the other person's point of view. Sometimes we disagree because we have not understood each other. But if you listen well, you might even end up realizing that what you wanted to disagree to is what you are for, simply because you never understood clearly what was being said by the other person. Then, put yourself in the shoes of the other person and deliberately take the other person's point of view. Try to understand what person's position, right? Remember, one man's meat is the other man's poison. So it's very important to remember that at the back of your mind. So the moment you want to disagree, also disagree in a very honorable and respectable manner. Then focus on the current issue. Even if you have disagreed before, do not revisit past issues. Doing so raises unnecessary tensions. If you are disagreeing on something, disagree to that point. Forget about history, right? Deal with what you have at that particular time or at that particular moment. And then, again, explain clearly what you disagree with. Do not attack the person by humiliating him or her. Tackle the problem. Forget about the person, deal with the problem. The issue is that we like mockery. You want to mock the person who is saying is to appear stupid. And that's where now we go wrong. The discussion is turned from a discussion to an attack of a certain form. Then, exercise self-control. Use polite language that is sound and sincere. Very polite language. Very important for any discussion to be very successful. Also remember that we can agree to disagree. We can agree to disagree. Other people have a right to hold different opinions. And even if they have different opinions, that does not mean that now you are enemies. No. That simply means their opinions and yours differs. But you should not be so much into that person, but deal with the opinion that the person has. So when disagreeing, use this expression. So you want to disagree. Which are some of the best words to use before saying what you want to say? Example, I am sorry to say this, then you carry on. I am afraid you are wrong on that, because, and so on. Please consider also, and then if you use a word like pardon me on these, and then excuse me, I wish to disagree to what you're saying, then I regret to admit that. Okay? I understand what you mean, but, so you're giving a contrast to what they are saying. And also, you can say, that is probably true, but, okay, you have a point, but suppose, and then you carry on. And also, this is not easy for me to say, but, so in that case, you will have respected the other person's space, and again, you will have respected their opinion. By doing so, or having such a disagreement, will not cause friction between you and the person who has said that point earlier. Then, we are disagreeing. Now, we have to interrupt. Sometimes we interrupt. And sometimes when we interrupt, maybe the person is speaking to another person, or we are having a conversation with one student, another student wants to say something to me or to the other student, so what will happen? They will have to interrupt. It's very, very unfair when you just bump into people's conversation, or the moment you just get into other people's conversation without getting their permission first. So we need to interrupt, but courteously, in a courteous way. So in the course of listening, right, we may find it necessary to interrupt the speaker. This could happen when we feel that we have something important to add to what is being said, and it cannot wait till the speaker finishes talking. So we may also interrupt when we feel inclined to urgently express doubt or disbelief about a falsehood on something important being passed as a fact. Interrupting should be done only when it is absolutely necessary. Only when it is important. Because maybe someone might be giving a factual, but in real sense, it's not a fact. So before it's passed, sometimes we are forced to interrupt. So we have to interrupt that courteously. So when you want to interrupt, begin with a polite expression such as, excuse me please, pardon me, sorry for the interruption, but I wish to say this. Only interject when the speaker pauses between one sentence and another, not in the middle of a sentence or a word. The person is still speaking, and then what do? You want to cut or interrupt that conversation. Please don't do so when the person is in the middle of a sentence or still saying a word. Important, take your time, wait until when there is a pause, and then you can carry up your hand and then raise that interjection. Then, Interact in a polite, respectful manner without portraying intolerance. Okay? Do not laugh at the mistake of others as you interact with their contribution. Remember, any laughter that will be in between an interruption will simply portray mockery, right? Or ironical. You're being ironical, and that's why probably you are saying so. And then, do not wait impatiently to seize the opportunity to interrupt, since this will disrupt your listening. So, very important to do it at the right time. Now, as we speak, we need to use our voice effectively. And how we use our voice effectively might determine whether we are being audible enough or not. So how do we use our voice effectively? To use our voice effectively on the stage, it is important to manage stage fright. Remember what stage fright? Yeah, the fear of looking at so many people. And then by doing thorough preparation of what you are going to present, being well prepared is very, very important to make sure that you have a proper voice projection and use the voice effectively. And then leaning to acquaint yourself or running to acquaint yourself with the audience so that you see them as a bunch of ordinary people who should not scare you. And then standing upright when speaking. This will bring us to the end of our lesson today, and we are going to carry on with these skills because they are very important in our day-to-day life. Otherwise, I wish you a lovely day and a blessed week.